Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about women's tennis, volleyball, and we even have something a little new on today's episode for you as well. But first, we're going to talk about women's tennis, and joining me to do so is Rebecca Lockhart, along with Madison Bickler. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
First of all, let's start out by having you talk a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what made you decide to come to IU East, and what all you're doing here. We'll start with you, Rebecca.
Okay. I'm from Oxford, Ohio. I came here because it's a smaller school. I thought everyone was more closer, and the faculty were very more interested in learning your name, unlike bigger schools. Another one was because I can play tennis here.
So, what are you going to major in here?
Business.
Business, and what made you decide to want to major in business?
Actually, ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to own a restaurant or a bakery, and I love to cook with my parents in the kitchen. So I just.
Right. How about you?
I'm Madison Bixler. I came from Greenville, Ohio. I came to IU East because I enjoy playing tennis, and they offered me a scholarship to play tennis here. And I really like the small atmosphere of this school. I do also enjoy that everyone knows your name here and everyone is really sweet and awesome.
What is your major going to be here?
I'm an early admit to the nursing program.
Okay. So what field in nursing do you want to work in? Any specific one?
Yeah, I want to do pediatrics.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of your teammates now. Let's start with the juniors. Tell me about Jordan Bowman. What's she like on the team?
Oh, well, she's awesome. She's always has a happy spirit. She is always the one like, come on, girls, we can do this. Or, you know, when we're playing on the court, she's like, come on, IUEs, we got this. Yeah, she's a happy spirit on the team.
So it's safe to say she steps up and tries to be the team leader then?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the other junior. Tell us about Brittany Hethcox.
Brittany is very, very sweet. She is more of like the nurturing person on the team. She always makes sure that you're okay and makes sure that you have everything you need. She always has a smile on her face. All
right, and I'll have you tell me about her sister, Sabra.
Sabra, she's kind of quiet too. She's a good player on the tennis team.
Last year, I know she was out with an injury, so how do you think she's playing this year coming off the injury from last year?
Well, not really knowing how she played last year. It seems like she's been playing pretty good. She always has her ankle wrapped up, but I feel like she's really recovered from her injury.
All right, moving on, I'll have you tell me about your teammate that's sitting right here next to you. Tell us about Rebecca.
Well, Rebecca is one of my new friends. We just met each other.
Before the show, I'm hoping, correct?
Yes.
Not just like
yes.
Right.
Yeah. We've been hanging out recently with her sister, too. Some twins. Hard. I finally can tell them apart now. They work incredibly well as doubles partners. You can tell that they've practiced with each other for a long time. She's great. She's the funny one. Well, they're both funny, but I think you're the funny one.
All right, now you tell us about Madison.
Oh, Madison, what can I say about you? We always laugh every time we're together. She is always happy. Great tennis player. We always have a good time every time we are at practice or at our apartment hanging out. It's just always a nice laugh.
All right. Now tell us about your sister, Sarah.
Oh, my sister, Sarah. Well, we're identical mirror image twins, which means like I'm left-handed, she's right-handed, which is the perfect doubles people to have to play for a match. And then she is also a good tennis player. She actually just had back surgery a couple months ago, so she's recovering from that. Actually, she's doing a lot better than how she was before. But yeah, we play doubles together, and it's always a good time.
So what's it like to not only have grown up with your twin, but to be able to come to college with her and play on the same college tennis team with her?
Oh, it's awesome because we've always been her best friends. We've always done everything together. heck, we're even sharing the same apartment room together. So it's a lot of fun, and it's always nice to have that person beside you. You know, people, I don't even know how, like Madison, how you would do without not having any siblings, like just coming to school and not knowing anyone. Like, I don't know what I would do. But it's fun. It's fun to start a new chapter together.
All right. How about Sally Wilhoit?
Sally is the honest one. Sally's the one that will tell you exactly how it is when you need to hear it. We've gotten closer since the season started. I didn't really talk to her at first, but now we're getting closer talking. I really like her parents. Her parents are kind of like the team parents. They always bring snacks for us.
Right. Yep. With there being so many freshmen, I know you were talking about how you're academically a sophomore here, but a freshman athletically. But with there being so many freshmen on the team this year, how's the team seeming to bond?
I think we're all bonding really great. We all have a really great time together, and we get along very well. We help each other out as much as we can, not knowing where this is or not knowing where this is, or if we just need some practice. Right. We're all here to help each other.
All right, well, let's move on and talk a little bit about how the season's going. Before we talk about the season for the team, let's talk about the season individually. So how's the season going for you, Rebecca?
So far it's going pretty well. I'm 3-3 in doubles, which is also with my twin sister, Sarah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things I need to work on, but so far I've seen a lot of improvement since from high school. But yeah, we'll see how the season goes with finishing it.
So what are some of the things you feel like you need to work on individually, then?
Well, both my forehands and backhands need a little bit of improvement on, which I actually worked on a little bit a couple of days ago at practice. That would be probably the biggest ones that I need to work on.
How about you, Madison?
I am 2-4 with singles. With doubles, we are 3-3. 3-3. With singles, it's my favorite. That's my favorite game to play. I definitely need to work on moving better. I'm not really a runner, but I try. With doubles, me and Jordan play together, and we're enjoying it a lot. We're pretty synchronized. We're working on it, but I'm enjoying my season.
All right. Well, let's talk about the last couple of matches. The first one we'll talk about was back on September 15th at Cedarville. It was a 9-0 loss for the team. What was that one like, Rebecca?
Well, it was pretty nice to see a friend of mine who actually played in high school with, but we played pretty well. I thought the other team was pretty strong, but other than that, we did pretty well together. What I was trying to say was we had a friend in high school who played tennis on the team, and her name was Deanna. So it was pretty cool to see her.
All right. Well, let's talk about the next one. It was home at Glenn Miller Park against the College of Mount St. Joseph. A 6-3 loss there. I'll have you tell us about that match.
That match was pushed back until 5 o'clock at night. We were all pretty tired by that point. We had a long day at school. But we tried to fight. I lost in singles. I didn't get to play doubles. They only brought 6 girls with them. Okay. So, but they were a pretty tough team themselves. They brought a lot of power with them. The girl I played definitely had experience at the net, and so she really brought it to me.
The most recent one was at IU Southeast. It was a 9-0 loss there as well. Have you tell us about that one?
That was a pretty strong match. I felt like we all were really, really close, especially Madison. She had a tough time with the girl, but we all stayed pretty well with the other team, but it just ended up on who made the more mistakes, which happened to be us.
All right.
So.
Well, the next matchup for you guys is going to be at home on October 4th against Brescia University, another home conference matchup. What do you expect them to be like in that match?
From what I've heard, they're going to bring some power to us too. But if we practice every day, so I'm hoping we can practice enough just to bring it better than they do.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining me, and best of luck when you take on Brescia.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. I just finished talking to a couple of our women's tennis players. Now, before I have a chance to talk with Coach Abby Niekamp about the volleyball update, Franklin Christ was able to catch up with volleyball senior Mallory Livingston for this week's edition of Wolf Tales.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first edition of Wolf Tales for the 2015 school year. I'm joined today by senior outside hitter Mallory Livingston. Mallory, how are you today?
Wonderful.
Good. Firstly, let's talk a little bit about life outside of volleyball. I know it's been, kind of a crazy journey. Anytime you get into college, things don't really tend to go how they seem. But how do you feel like how do you feel like your career has been here at IU East? Is it what you thought it would be?
Well, I definitely wanted to make something of myself here at IU East when I was a senior in high school. It seems like not that long ago, but it's crazy. Sure. And I think I've accomplished that. I think I've set a lot of goals for myself, and I think I've accomplished a lot of them goals. So I really just want to finish out as strong as possible these last few months that I have left.
Sure. Now, I know a lot of times, you get into college, there's a lot to take away from your 4 years in college. How do you, or what do you feel like you've taken away in your 4 years here at IU East?
I think I've learned a lot about myself as a person. We've had some struggles on the team and outside the team, and I've never knew how far I could push myself physically or mentally until I came to college, and I think I have expanded my range of my abilities, and I think I set myself higher these last couple years.
Now, a lot of times too, you hear all the time, people talk about college athletics and how it helps you once you get into the real world. Essentially, what kind of traits do you feel like you've enhanced or gained since you've been here in school?
Definitely a lot of leadership skills. Due to our young team over the last couple years, I've been probably one of the oldest players on the team since I was a sophomore.
Sure.
And so I've been forced into that leadership role, and I've had to adapt and learn how to work with all different types of people and work on different types of teams. And I think I've learned a lot about leadership in general.
Now, you and Morgan are the lone two upperclassmen. She's essentially, I don't want to say going to be by herself next year, but what kind of things are you telling her as she goes into next year, essentially being, again, one of the few upperclassmen that we're going to have?
Morgan has made huge strides this year as a player and a person off the court, I think, and we've come really close these last couple seasons, seeing as we're the only two older ones. And we try not to talk about next year because we get a little upset. It's going to be kind of weird not being here and coming back. And of course, I'm going to come support her when I can and watch her. And basically, right now, we try to focus on this year because we get a little sad when we think about next year. And we'll deal with that when the time comes. Sure.
Talking about the future, let's talk about that a little bit. Do you plan to further your education, or what are your plans outside of or this upcoming year, I should say?
I graduate in December, so I'm not going in the spring, and I have applied for grad school, and I'm actually switching gears. I'm a psych major now, and I'm going to go to business for my master's. But I kind of want to work, get a big girl job at the same time. So then by the time I do get my master's, I'll have work experience at the same time. And then hopefully it'll be I can get a promotion right away.
Sure, exactly.
So that's the rough outline. And I don't know exactly where I want to be or exactly what kind of job. And I'm just kind of see what opportunities come. Okay.
Well, let's talk about dream scenario. Dream scenario for you once you get your big girl job. What's that include?
Definitely a management position. I really enjoy being in that leadership role. I've always been in all the organizations, through high school, as always the president or vice president. So I really enjoy leading and organizing. And I've been interested in marketing a little bit and actually some human resources because that kind of plays with my psychology there. But right now, I just really want to work up through management. And on the side, if I could, I would love to continue to do pottery. I think we've talked about pottery before on Wolf Tales.
Sure.
And I really want to sell ceramics and do ceramics on the side.
Okay, cool. So let's get back to the volleyball part of things again now. You've talked about, those young teams that you've been a part of. What's been some of the biggest challenges on being on some of those teams? I mean, obviously, you're a freshman, or you're a senior, I'm sorry, and you've got, handfuls of freshmen and sophomores coming in. What's the biggest challenge for you there?
I think the biggest challenge is having them adjust to the speed of college volleyball, and then when we get in tight situations, a lot of younger players tend to close up a little bit and they become less aggressive, which is in those close games, that's when we need to be more aggressive and we need to go at it harder. And
sure.
So because of that, we kind of don't finish some games that we probably should. With a more experienced team, you learn how to finish more, you learn how to be more consistent in those hard, tough games. So that's probably been the biggest challenge. We're kind of a roller coaster sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now everybody's got expectations coming in. I know it's tough to have expectations when you have some of these young teams, but how do you feel like you guys have stacked up to what you thought you were going to be coming in?
Well, we've had a lot of different people this year, so I try not to have set in stone expectations, but of course every year I feel and I still truly believe that we can win the conference, which automatically puts you into a national opening round. So to me, that is our expectation. That's my expectation. I know we've lost one conference game, but that doesn't mean anything to me. I think going the rest of the season, I still hold that expectation for this team.
Sure. Now you've got all the volleyball experience that you've got. Is there any possible future for you in volleyball outside of school, do you feel?
I don't think so. I think I already feel old. Like my my body feels old going into this year. But I think future, like way down the future, when I have kids one day, I'll probably want to coach them when they're younger, just to get them good fundamentals and but
sure.
Nothing serious.
Sure. I can understand. I can definitely relate to the feeling old aspect because
yeah.
There's days, you wake up and, stuff starts hurting that, hasn't really hurt before. But Mallory, thanks again for joining me today. And thank you, viewers, for joining us on this segment of Wolf Tales.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. It's time for a volleyball update with Coach Niekamp. We didn't have a chance to talk with you last week, but thanks for joining me this week.
Absolutely.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to the Anderson University matchup last week. Tell us about how that went.
That seems like so long ago now. We traveled to Anderson, and we ended up beating them in 3. It was a great match for us. Our team came out with a lot of energy. We've been talking a lot about nerves and getting over that nervous energy before the game, and they came out really loose and played as a team. And our offense was on that night. We got everyone involved. So we ended up taking them in 3, and it was a great match for us to win.
What do you think helped lead up to them playing so well that night?
Every day in practice, we kind of approach practice a little bit differently, trying to find out what works for us. And the biggest thing is finding how we can bring that consistent energy, because with such a young team, we talk about consistency until we're dead in the face. And, the bus ride over, we were really relaxed and talking and communicating on the bus, and then they were able to come out and really bring some energy to it.
Do you think maybe with it being, maybe just a little over an hour drive instead of some of the longer drives that they've been used to, do you think that helped any?
Absolutely. They didn't take a nap on the bus this time.
That's true.
When we go on long bus trips, I try not to have them sleep too much, but they always fall asleep in the back, especially when we're getting up at 6 a.m. So we have to find a good amount of time that they're allowed to sleep and when they're not allowed to sleep. But definitely having it a shorter drive, we just got on the bus and got off real fast and came out with a lot of energy because of it.
Now, with not such a short drive, you went to Hammond, Indiana the past weekend to play Purdue Calumet and Governor State. Let's talk about the Governor State matchup first. How was that one?
Okay, Governor State is a young team. They had a few really good athletes on their team, but being a brand new team this year, they came out a little bit slow and a little bit flat, and we actually came out really flat on our end too. And it took us a little bit to get going after that long bus ride. We just talked about bus rides. It took us a little bit to get going, but we were able to kind of clean up our offense that game, so it was a good start for us before we played Purdue Calumet that day.
Now, with your team being young and the Governor State team being young as well, with them knowing that, is that a good confidence booster for them taking that 3-0 win?
You know, we didn't actually talk about it beforehand, but I think any win for us kind of boosts our confidence. We went on a losing streak there for a little bit, and we kind of get down in the slumps about it, but we were being really challenged. So it was a good type of challenge, but now that we kind of have some wins under our belt again, I think they're feeling a lot more confident in themselves.
All right. Now tell us about the Purdue Calumet game.
Yeah, the Purdue Calumet game, they're a great team. They have some great players on their team. I think that we just kind of, after the Governor State game, we kept our offense going. We were able to clean up our serve receive a little bit and our ball control and really control the height of our passes to the net to be able to give our offense a really good chance. Sometimes we like to pass a little bit too quick and a little bit too low, and our setter gets to the net late and our hitters can't get off to transition. So we kind of focused on that game and really got our offense going.
So now 3 straight 3-0 wins after the 3-2 loss to IU South Bend. How does those 3 wins help as we get later on in the season?
I think just gaining momentum and understanding that, you know, one loss or one set off doesn't determine the whole season.
Right.
We've been going to 5-set matches with some of these teams and we just can't learn to finish. So I think that's a big boost for them to understand that they can finish a match and they can do it in 3 sets.
So what does the team need to do in those longer matches, like the 5-set matches, I'm sorry? What do they need to do to learn how to finish in those matches?
Focus on the little things. We look at the big picture too much and we don't break it down. So we kind of get scatterbrained with our passing and that throws our offense off. So we like to break it down and talk about what our fundamentals are, what our feet are doing, especially in those tight situations. Another thing that I think we're doing really well right now is our leadership is stepping up, especially now that Mallory's on a roll, getting some, a ton of kills every match.
Right.
So our leadership is taking a turn for the better right now. And I think that's something that we're going to focus on moving forward.
All right. Speaking of leadership, let's talk about some of the more leading players on the team this year. Tell us how Mallory's doing as a leader.
Mallory's doing great. I think she contributes to that loose, kind of relaxed feeling we have on the court. When we get her going, it seems like we're unstoppable. And it's not just her. She kind of sparks it for everyone on the court. So we get everyone else going on offense, and our passers are much more confident because every time they pass the ball, they see it producing a kill. So she's really helping our leadership right now.
I know once earlier this year when you and I talked, besides Mallory, Morgan Steinbrenner brings a lot of energy and leadership to the court as well. Tell us about her.
Yeah, Morgan is our little spark plug on offense. She's really taken it upon herself to be another go-to player this year, and she's put a little bit of pressure on herself too. So sometimes when we get tight, she gets a little bit tight. But we've been really working on her relaxing and bringing back the energy that she had last year.
Now, who do you think some of the others are that are stepping up in some of the leadership roles?
Madison Yoder, for sure, in the libero position. She's on the court almost every play, and she brings a lot of energy to it, and her ball control is great. And once we get her enthusiastic and really fighting on the court, everybody wants to fight around her.
All right. Well, with us being in basically the last full month of the regular season, who do you think that some of the most improved players are so far?
Abby Ketchum is doing great for us at the setter position. She was kind of thrown into that early on in the season. When Madison Chris got hurt, we started training Abby. And we love Bella as a setter, but Abby brings a block in the front row, so we've been having her run a 5-1, and the hitters have really taken to her consistency on the court. And I think she improves every game that she's out there, and I tell her that every chance I get because every setters practice that we have, every time we're in the gym, as soon as I tell her to do one thing, she does it, and she commits to it fully. So she's definitely one of our most improved.
All right. Well, one match coming up that we'd like to talk a little bit about is Marian University. That's going to be on October 6th over in Indianapolis, another short drive for the team. What do you expect that match to be like?
Oh, we love playing Marian. You know, we flip-flop back and forth every year of where we're going, and this year it's our turn to go to them. But they're always a solid program, and the coach over there is great, so we love going to their gym.
After you're able to get a win against them last year at home, what do you expect out of them on the road?
Oh, we always want to get a win against them. It's kind of a rivalry because it's not a conference game, but we play them every year.
Right.
So we're really hoping to get another win against them.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach, for joining me.
Thank you.
Best of luck against Marion.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.
I am your physician.
I am your caregiver.
I am your spiritual support.
I am here to help you be independent
and achieve your optimal health.
But I am also a cancer survivor.
I am living with diabetes.
I am a chef.
And an artist.
I am your neighbor.
I am the face of Reed Health.
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 Reed Health, right beside you.
Welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. That sound you just heard means that it is time for Wolf Center. Wolf Center is where we take a look back at last week's IU East results and ahead to next week's schedule. You can download the Wolf House sound you just heard for free by downloading the free IU East Athletics app on your iPhone or Android device at the iTunes App Store or at Google Play. Now taking a look back at last week's IU East results on September 21st, men's tennis beat Mount St. Joseph's 8-1. Keaton Akers won at number 1 doubles, and he also won at number 2 singles. Also on September 21st, women's tennis fell to Mount St. Joseph 6-3. Sarah Lockhart won at number 4 singles. On September 23rd, the volleyball team defeated Anderson University 3-0. Missy Bedell had a career high of 10 kills with a .450 hitting average. On September 26th, the volleyball team also beat Governor State 3-0. Morgan Steinbrenner had a career high 16 kills with an .889 hitting average. On September 26th, the volleyball team defeated Purdue Calumet 3-0. Mallory Livingston had 12 kills with 5 blocks. On September 26th, the women's tennis team fell to IU Southeast 9-0. Sally Wilhoit had her closest singles match at number 1 singles. On September 26th and 27th, the men's golf team placed 5th at the Harbor Links Invite. Now taking a look ahead at the schedule on October 3rd, the golf teams will be at the KIAC Preview in Georgetown, Kentucky. This event will be held at the Cherry Blossom Golf Course and is the final day of a 2-day tournament. On October 3rd, the cross-country teams will be at the Earlham Invite. That begins at 11 a.m. here in Richmond. This is the last race in Richmond for the 2015 season for IU East. Also on October 3rd, the men's tennis team will be at home against Indiana Wesleyan. Match starts at 11 a.m. at Glenn Miller Park. Indiana Wesleyan comes into the matchup ranked number 26 in the NAIA postseason poll. On October 6th, the volleyball team will be at Marion. Match begins at 7 p.m. in Indianapolis. Be sure to watch that game live at IUERedWolves.com. And lastly, on October 9th, the women's tennis team will be at home against Defiance beginning at 4 p.m. at Glenn Miller Park. That concludes this week's episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.